All right, I am back in the lab with Catherine O'Shea, and as we saw recently, all of our materials biodegrade really well, both our foams and our TPUs, or thermoplastic polyurethanes. But we're often asked, well, okay, your materials biodegrade, but what happens to the soil after they biodegrade? Does it leave any toxins behind? So we actually have a way to measure that, and Kat, you're going to tell us about how you do that.
Yeah. So we follow OECD standard 208 to do our phytotoxicity tests. So we have a range of species that we can choose from. Today, what we see is giant gray stripe sunflower seeds. And we germinate them with a control and with degraded material.
Okay, and the idea behind this now is that you plant a number of seeds, and then what are you actually measuring? The number of seeds that germinate, how big they get, how healthy they look? What's in the standard?
So we're testing them for germination and early stage growth. Okay. And how we measure that early stage growth is sprout height and mass. So that's how large the leaves are and how heavy they are. So that's how much water they're pulling up.
Okay, and even just casually looking from here, I can see that this group looks much happier and healthier than this group. So I'm just going to guess this must be our degraded TPU, and this is the control.
Well, you would guess wrong. This is our control. So this is just normal potting soil and compost. And over here is potting soil and compost that's dosed with our fabric coating material.
Okay, so you've degraded the TPU in the compost, and then you mix the compost in here and you grew the sunflowers, and these ones are growing much better. How do you explain that? How is it possible that just by adding our biodegraded TPUs, these guys are doing better than those?
That's a great question. So one component that goes into a TPU is called an isocyanate, and that chemical contains nitrogen. So when the TPU breaks down in compost, it's releasing that nitrogen, creating kind of a fertilizer effect.
Yeah, and we should point out that there's a fair amount of our TPU in here. It's about what % of the total mass?
It's about 8% by weight of the total mass.
Okay, so then, and maybe 5% of that or 2% of that is nitrogen? What is it?
Around 2% of the TPU is nitrogen, meaning at the end, this is around 0.1% nitrogen by mass.
Okay, but 0.1% nitrogen, farmers will know, gardeners will know, that's a pretty significant amount of nitrogen. They're doing better from that. Well, there you have it. You know, not only do our TPUs not form, toxins, they're actually better for the plant. So thanks for sharing that today, Kat.
Thank you, Steve.